What are the conversations like inside their offices right now about Jed's future?
I think I would not be surprised if he's given a new contract by the All-Star break. I think that he's more likely to get it sooner rather than later, possibly before the trade deadline. It's like kind of one of those things. If you're going to impact our team for years to come, let's sign you up. I really could see that. Now, the other option is 3 days after the season ends, but I think he's in line for that extension, 3 years, 5 years, whatever Tom Ricketts wants to do. But I would not be surprised if it happens between now and July 31st.
Do you anticipate if this relationship does extend, which I'm sure most people think it will, that Jed will ask for something other than just to be paid as one of the top paid GMs in Major League Baseball? Is he completely 100%, good with how things are done in that building?
I think any president wants more power. I mean, we've seen presidents of baseball operations kind of, lean into the business side as well. So I can't tell you for sure, but I could see him after now, 15 years in the organization and maybe another 5, wanting or needing or asking for a bigger say in the purse strings, so to speak. I could see that, yes.
Especially as things look like they're pointed in the right direction now more than they have in recent years.
Oh yeah. I mean, remember, Jed had a plan in 21, and I don't think he expressed it externally as well as he could have, but internally, I think he told Tom this is going to take a few years. I wish he had said that a little bit more explicitly, to us, right, publicly. But he never really did, and that was, I think, a mistake by Jed. But internally, everything he promised Tom is kind of coming to fruition, where the farm system would give them some players, Justin Steele, PCA, not that they drafted him, but they developed him. And so I think the only thing left was to win. That was the only thing left. And so I think Tom has been very impressed by what's gone on, and actually Jed has delivered on his plan.
This portion of Waddle and Silvy brought to you by Steinhoffels. We usually crosstalk at the end of the show, but we've got White Sox baseball coming up in a matter of minutes. 6 Chicagoland locations, including the newest in Orland Park shop, Steinhoffels today. Jesse, it's an interesting note of what you said regarding Jed and his future, that maybe it could be by the All-Star break, because we've talked about this. If he's unsigned and he goes to the trade deadline, there are some people who believe that, hey, let's wait to see how the season totally pans out. But if you've got an unsigned general manager at the trade deadline who's really still trading for his job, might he not be looking out for the best long-term future of the team as opposed to doing everything to save his job? Do you know what I'm saying? I'm not saying that Jed would do that, but if he knows he's here for the next 5 years, he may approach the trade deadline differently, knowing if he's going to get a contract extension at all.
I don't disagree that, look, we're all human beings and we're impacted by our situations. I also agree with you. I don't think he would change himself too much. But yes, I mean, how can it not be in the back of his mind? It was this offseason. He traded his top pick last year, 2 other guys, for Kyle Tucker, possibly only being here for 1 year. So I agree. I think if you're Tom Ricketts, you might want to wrap that up just so there's some clarity before the deadline. It doesn't have to happen that way, because I truly think Jed would have the best interests of the team at heart. The good news is for Cub fans, I think it's all aligned. Even if he pushes his chips all in for this year, that's not necessarily a bad thing. Because I'm not sure that Owen Casey is the future anyway. I'm not sure Moises Ballesteros is anyway. They have guys that are in place in those positions. So I think it all kind of lines up either way. But it would be nice to have some certainty. And I'll just go back to what I said in the off season. They were and are looking for reasons to re-sign Jed, not the other way around, looking for reasons to get rid of him. They've been given a very good reason. First place, 15 over right now, probably going to go further than that. I think they have everything they need to know to sign him up again.
Jesse, the one thing about Skubal is I think this is a good thing for the Cubs, too. It's good for Skubal. It's good for the Cubs as well.
Yeah, I think so. Skubal and I were talking about it. Hey, I'm up for this. I want this challenge, right? Now, he would have pitched Thursday against the White Sox. Probably would have thrown a complete game. But the best want the challenge. The best want to face the best. And I'm not sure if Cub hitters want to face him, but he is up for this. So it's going to be great. And 2 first-place teams. I'm already told it's standing room only all weekend in Comerica Park. A lot of Cub fans, I'm sure, are going to make the trip or live in the area because they're all over the place. So that one's going to be good, but we got to get there first.
What's the most impressive thing about this Cubs team so far, Jess? Is it individual performances? Is it, they go 14-4 against, teams that they should get the best of? Or is it a combination of stuff for you?
It's really everything they touch is turning to gold. And I mean that from a Craig Counsell perspective, a player perspective, a Jed Hoyer perspective. Look at those bullpen names that were not around 3 months ago, and all of a sudden they're prominent, and Drew Pomerantz and Brad Keller and Daniel Palencia. And then obviously we've talked so much about the offense. But actually, you bring up what's good about them. Let's focus on Craig Counsell, because, Tommy, you more than anyone at this station over the last 2 years have asked me about Counsell and his impact. And I think last year I was pretty honest, and it wasn't hard to be honest. I think you guys agreed. It was underwhelming. And it really felt like he was kind of sitting back and watching things. I truly think things have changed in a big way in that department. I think his fingerprints are on everything. I want to play this from Craig Counsell himself. He was asked about their base running, right? They're one of the best base running teams in the league from a stolen base perspective and just simply running the bases. Listen to what he had to say and his expectations this year as opposed to last year. Here's Craig Counsell.
Going into the season, we thought this should be a strength of this team. And I think, maybe I thought the same thing last year, and that maybe we didn't, but we had to spend time on it still. We had to dedicate time towards it. And yet sometimes in the course of this thing, dedicating time to the base running, but we've just said we've got to dedicate time to it. Hopefully that's bared some fruit, essentially, some results.
And I followed up that answer with, well, did you spend as much time in Milwaukee as you are now? And he said, actually, this Cubs team, he spent even more time on it. And that tells me that they needed to spend time on it. And that's kind of what I'm saying. Like last year, he's sitting back watching everything. Remember, they had Willie Harris there, all those outs in the base pass, but it didn't really change anything. This year, they spend more time on it and look at what's going on. I think that's across the spectrum on this team. He's had his fingerprints on it all. And I really think, guys, that last year, it had to do with being new. He didn't know people. He didn't know what buttons to push. He didn't know the front office. He didn't know his coaches, to be honest. He just hired his bench coach, Ryan Flaherty, without even knowing him. A year later, just like anybody new on the job, a year later, he knows everybody, he knows how to handle things. So whether last year was a throwaway year or not, I think you're getting the benefits of it this season.
Yeah, Jesse, they were talking about this on Carmen and Yurko today. Yurko was saying early in the show, he's like, it's funny how you get better players, and now Counsell looks better. But this is a nuanced conversation. You're saying you believe he's actually doing stuff better, and this isn't just because now they have Tucker and PCA has become an MVP candidate and Sea's having a better year.
No, I think it's, of course, a combination of everything. I mean, look, he has no big impact on Kyle Tucker, but you can't say that he hasn't impacted PCA, just like Joe Madden impacted Javi Baez. Like, just letting players be themselves is an impact. So, yeah, I do think he has his hands on more. I think that came in the offseason with acquisitions. But I also think, as I've said before, he's taken that small market mentality where speed and defense matters more in Milwaukee, more in Tampa, more in Cleveland. And he's brought that to a big market team with a high payroll, and you're seeing the results.
Listen, I think tactically he's done a lot of really good things. Go back to this weekend where instead of starting Ben Brown, they put Pomerantz in so that Brown comes in the second. I think there have been a ton of things strategically that I think that they've done better this year. The thing that I couldn't wrap my brain around last season was when his team was struggling and floundering and they were getting jobbed, he never came out of the dugout to actually, express himself and give his team a boost. And some will say, well, that's, this isn't football, that's baseball. I think there were a number of times last year where his guys needed him to step out and kind of rally them.
Yeah, I think we're learning it's not his personality.
Obviously so.
Yeah, obviously so. And I've talked to some of those players, and it's the good and the bad. Like the good is the stoic. I did a feature on Christian Yelich, and he said the thing I learned from Counsell more than anything is the whole keep an even keel. Don't get too high, don't get too low. But that's different than what you're saying. Go out and fight for your player. He probably, there's a moment or two here and there where he's probably could have done that. But I'm with you on the strategic stuff and the decisive decision making. I mean, think about it in baseball. Aren't we usually criticizing a team for waiting too long to make a decision? They didn't give Ben Brown that much rope. They went out and said, okay, let's use an opener. Dansby Swanson's struggling. Let's drop him to 8th. Then all of a sudden he's playing well. Let's bring him up. Same thing with PCA. He starts low. He comes up. Like, I like the decisive decision-making Counsell has had this season. And when you kind of compare it to last season, it's even more extreme, where he just literally kind of sat back and watched. So I think it's all coming together. Obviously, Jed's vision is coming together in his contract year. The trade deadline's coming up, and they've got assets to use. And I want to say one more thing. This morning they asked me if it was World Series and bust. And the answer is no if you're just judging how the season goes. They make the playoffs. That's a good year. If they lose, it happens. But in terms of whether they should go for it or not, I absolutely think they should. Like, you don't know where Kyle Tucker is going to be next year. You don't know what the standings are going to look like next year. Yeah, I would absolutely go for it and pretend like it's World Series or bust. And if you lose, you lose. But you're giving your team a best chance to win.
What does that mean, World Series or bust? Does that mean like there's no form of success other than winning the World Series this year? It's either a World Series championship or it's unsuccessful. Is that
no? I'm saying that if you don't win the World Series, it's okay as long as you get to the playoffs. I'm saying you go for it like it's World Series or bust. You unload your farm system. I mean, they have a clear need at the top of the rotation. They probably still have a clear need at the back end of the bullpen. There are now going to be players. I think Jeff Passan's writing it. I mentioned it today. Zach Gallen and Merrill Kelly are probably going to be available because the Diamondbacks are falling apart. So all of a sudden, the seller's market might turn a little bit more into a buyer's market. There's no doubt they have the assets to get at least one or two good pitchers. That's where I say go for it. And if you lose in the playoffs, I don't think you're disappointed, but you want to put your team in the best chance to win.
We brought up DeGrom. Would DeGrom ever be available?
Yes, he's owed a lot of money still, right?
Yes, several years at a high number.
Now, personally, I don't think the Rangers would sell unless they really fall out of it. But if they do fall out of it, then yes, I think he would be available. The Rangers are one of these veteran teams with a GM and a manager, Bochy, who's older, that really don't want to, strip apart anything or sell anything. They want to go for it. Diamondbacks want to win, but they've just been handed a bad bullpen, and Corbin Burns is hurt. So, but you're right. I mean, if the Rangers fall out, it is possible that Jacob deGrom would be available. I don't think Tom Ricketts is adding a ton of salary past this season, but I wouldn't say never.
One thing with PCA too, Jesse, with Carson Kelly now, as we would expect, they rode him while he was hot. He's probably still going to have a good year, but he can't keep up what he was doing. I would like a little more stability with PCA, at least in the top 4 of the order. I've always said top 3. Just because he creates this energy level. He can do so many things. I want him up sooner rather than later for that 4th at bat and everything. Like, why are we waiting for him to come up the 4th time around when he, in a 1-run game, can be all the difference in the world by getting on, stealing a base, coming around and scoring? I would like to see him in a more fixed opportunity towards the top of the lineup.
I can see that, but it is a good problem to have. We've talked about this before. I mean, Happ has cooled off, but normally Happ's a pretty good player at the top. I mean, Tucker, Suzuki, how can you go wrong there? Against lefties, I understand if he's batting 5, maybe 6. Against righties, I don't disagree. He should probably be in your top 4, and there have been moments we've seen lately that he's batting 4th. So, again, it's a good problem to have. I mean, Suzuki's had a hell of a year, and Tucker obviously as well. The one guy that's cooled off is Happ, but I think Happ will find it again. So I have no problem if he's at least 5, but against righties, he should be 4.
Really quick for Waddle. Who will have the extension announced first, Jed Hoyer or Ryan Poles?
Probably Ryan Poles, if we believe what's already been reported.
So he could get it before the trade deadline.
I would think so.
At the start of training camp, we get a Ryan Poles extension?
I would think so. I mean, that's what people have talked about.
Yeah, right.
You know how I feel. I think extensions are given out too frequently in sports these days.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
All right. Anything else, Jesse? Anything on the south side there?
Well, I talked to Javi for a while. Not enough time to get into it. You have some audio there. But, I mean, this is a mature Javi. This is a guy, I haven't heard him sound like this before. He's a leader in that room. And like Chicago, like with the Cubs, they love him. I mean, they absolutely love this resurrection of Javi Baez this season. But I've never heard him talk about speaking to young players and all these things that he's doing in there. It's pretty cool to hear Spencer Torkelson say, that's my favorite teammate, and I'm not just saying that. That is my favorite teammate. So the return of Javi Baez has been something. He's going to face the Cubs this weekend. But he did a long thing with the media today. You guys have some audio there. But it's just so fun to see him. I always liked Javi on the north side. He's so much fun to be around.
How could you not? Yeah, we'll play some of that tomorrow. All right, Jesse, great stuff. Thank you.
Jess.
You got it, boy.